Hey everyone, this is Mr. Isometric, and in this video we are going to make our FPS game character. This character will be visual scripted and I'm using Unity version 2021.1. All the game assets which I will use for making this tutorial will be available for free on my CG Traders account. Link will be in the description below. So without further ado, let's get started. I will just create two folders. One will be for the FBX files. The FBX files will be the gun and the character, and the second one will be for the materials. In the FBX folder I will import two of the FBX files, which are gun and the character. For the character I have a color palette from Infanzia, and for the guns I have the folder of the texture pack, so I will just drag and drop it in over here. So this is the textures. I have all these three texture for the semi-realistic gun, so let's just drag and drop it over there, and it will take some time to load. Okay, so now the folder is over there. I think I should just drag and drop this into the materials folder. Also this texture, let us put that in materials section. Now I think I will just import the objects. Let us drag and drop this CT over there, and as you can see my character is facing in the Z direction. If and also there is this minus 90-degree rotation to it, but it won't matter right now because my character is facing the right direction and it has similar local axis as you can see over here, so let's not do anything to it. But if your character is facing wrong way, just click on this bake axis conversion and just hit and apply over here. I don't have to do anything for that. So inside the city, inside the rig, I will just create a generic rig, create from this model. So we will create an avatar definition. So just click on generic. I don't need humanoid for this, but if you want humanoid you can do that. I'll just click on apply. Also I think for the animations you have to select each and every animation and make it loop time so that your animation loops.
So I'll quickly do that for each and every animation.
So once you are done with that, just click on apply and it is done. Okay, so on the material I will just make it none because I want to make my own material. Inside the guns, inside the materials tab, I will just make my own material. Click on apply. Animation, it doesn't have any, and it doesn't need any avatar for this. You can click on bake axis conversion. Now what we will do is we will go on to our character, and as you can see it has that avatar we just created applied to it, and it has the character controller to it, so we should also make our character controller. I'll just create a new character controller. So animator controller, this one we need that, so player anim controller. Now let us select our city and we just need to select the player anim controller. So inside the animator window, which is over here, this is displayed over there in the graph format. So to get this animator window you just need to go into the Windows animation and then this animator window. Now let us texture everything first, and then we will go ahead and apply guns to the armature of this player. Let me just hide the gizmos. Okay, what we will do now is import our guns in the scene. Okay, great. Now what we want to do is if I just select every gun. You can see each one of them has this minus 90-degree rotation. So to remove that, we will just go inside the model and we will just bake axis conversion, apply, and then they will have this 180-degree rotation on Y. So just remove that and you're good to go. So let us make materials for our this. So we will first create our material for player, and this material will only have this infanzia color palette. And now let us drag and drop this to on our player, and now you can control its smoothness from over here. I'll just keep it pretty rough. Okay, that much. And now what we will do is we will now just control D to duplicate it, and we will name it as our 9mm. Drag and drop this on the 9mm over there, and I think I will just disable all of them. So you can see the 9mm, it has color palette, but that's the wrong texture. So just go into 9mm and change the albedo to the 9mm color. So I think there it is, 9mm color, and as you can see it already got its texture. Now we just need to apply the roughness. So in the metallic section, just apply pistol roughness, and sorry for that. Okay, now in the normal map you have to assign the 9mm pistol normal. Also in Unity you have to specify what image is what. Like this image was a normal map, but I didn't do it, so it's asking me to fix it now. So I'll just click on fix now and it will just do it for us. And from here now you can just increase and decrease the normalness of it. With this slider over here you can increase and decrease the normal mapping. So I'll just keep it on 1 and I will play with the smoothness value. So I think I want it pretty much that smooth. Also I think I will decrease the normal value to something like 0.2. This should look good. In the materials tab, I think I will increase it just a little bit. 0.34 will look good. Okay, so same thing we have to do it with all the other guns. So every gun is now textured. Now we can parent it to our character. Inside the armature, while selecting character, by the way, before parenting you have to apply the prefab and unpack it completely. You don't have to do this for guns, but I think it is good practice to just do it. So let's unpack it completely, and then what I will do is I want to parent this inside a bone. There is a separate bone for the guns, and if your character don't have that bone, then just parent it to the hand bone close enough, such as this palm or wrist bone. So now what I will do is I will just go inside to my forearm left. I think it's inside. Okay, no, it's not inside the forearm. I think it's in the bone. So in the shoulder left I have that bone over there. So there is the gun bone, which is in the air hanging. So what I will do is I will just select my guns and drag and drop it into the gun bone, and now everything is parented to it. All we need to do right now is just move these guns to the gun bone. We have to do that manually, but once it's done it will look beautiful. So for doing that, for pistols I have a separate animation, combined separate animation, and for the ARs, which stands for assault rifle, if you don't know, it has separate but same animation. So what I will do is I will do the pistols first, and then I will do the ARs. So what for that, you have to go inside the FPX file and just take your ideal pistol animation or any pistol animation you have. After doing that, I just dragged and dropped it into our animator controller, player anim controller. So what we will do now is let's go into the game view. I think we don't need game view, we can do everything in the scene view. Let me just make it smaller if it gets. Okay, it's not getting any smaller. So we are done with this part. I can just now hide every other gun, and let's concentrate on the 9mm. So I'll just hit play, and now our character is playing ideal pistol animation. I'll just pause it, and now I will just roughly move my gun towards his hand. So just do some transform editing. Let me change this to global. Now by the way I made this guns are such that each and every gun has its pivot point over trigger. So all you need to do is just match trigger to his finger which pulls the trigger. So inside the local I will just rotate it like this. Let's go on top and edit some more. So I will put my pistol somewhere over there like this. Animations are not perfect, I made them quickly for the tutorial purpose, but I hope you all have great animations and have a really great asset for the game. So this, I'm pretty satisfied with this look, and I have to do this for all the guns. So it is a pretty tilted like this. Tilted like this, so I will just rotate it and correct its rotation, and now it looks good. So what I will do is by selecting the gun we just moved, just right click over the transform and just copy the component value, and after you do that just unplay it and just paste the component value over there. And as you can see, our gun is at the right position. So if I just hit play again, you see the gun is at the right position, and that's really great. So we are done with this positioning, and now I will do this to all the other guns. Okay, so now I'm doing assault rifles, AK and M4. So what I will do is I will quickly change the animation. You can do it two ways. You can either change it directly from over here, or you can just delete this one and just take your ideal AR and just plug that over there. And now we can do the same with the AK. Let's select our AK and then we can just hit play. Now it will play the ideal AR animation, and this is different. So I will now quickly just paste the component value. By the way, this component value is of the pistol, but as their trigger point are same, I mean their pivot point are same, it will just I just have to make a little minute adjustments for the previous gun, so something like this. By the way, you can pause it, I forgot to do that. Now let us adjust it like this, just a little bit back. This looks pretty good. How does it look from front? I think it looks pretty good from the front as well, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'll now just right click and then let's copy the component values, and then let's get out of the play mode and paste the component values over here. Let's hide the AK, and now let's go for the M4 and we will just directly paste the component values and let us hit play again. These component values are from the AK, but now we have to only make minor adjustments. Let's pause it and I will just bring it down a little bit, and it's already looking good. From top it looks a little bit okay, from the top it looks good as well. In front it is good, so you don't have to do much, just move a gun a little bit down. So let's just copy the component value and get out of the play mode. Let's paste the component values over there, Control S to save it. Always save your project, that's really good habit. Now you can just hide this gun, and now we are done with aligning the guns. Now I think we should move on to making the first person camera. Now there is a specific way for making this FPS game characters camera. So one camera will be for the eyes and one camera will be for the hands, and then we will project the gun camera, the camera which is rendering our gun, onto our sorry, for the eye camera. So let's do that. Both the cameras are now going to be parented inside the head bone. So head bone is located over here in this bone hierarchy. So this is our head bone, and now what I will do is take our main camera and parent it inside the head bone. Now let us take our camera and move it all the way up till over there. Make sure that your clipping is set to a high number. I have already set it to 1.39. I think if I just now let me just turn on the gizmo so that you can see the camera. So inside the game view, you should not be able to see any mesh parts. Gun can be hidden by the mask which we are just going to create. I will just make this smaller. Okay, while the camera is selected, we are going to clip our camera till over there, and in the up direction we are not seeing anything. So just position your camera such that it is quite nicely inside the mesh and you don't see the character itself, but you should be able to see the legs and the arms. So I can now decrease this to reveal some of the part. So 1.1 looks good. I will be clipping my camera to 60. I know that, so I can also bring this a little bit further, my camera till over there. It looks good, and then it will be to I think -90 on the top, and we don't see his helmet, so make sure that it is at least a very least angle, which you can see by the way in this. So we have the ideal AR as we know in the animator over here. I will just play the game to check how the camera is looking. So we can still see this hands and we don't want that, so what I will do is just make it 60 again. I think 60 was good. I will now just increase it till I don't see the hands, and there is a really not so good precision with this number changing, so 1.1 maybe. I think 1.2, no, 1.3. You have to play with these values, by the way, and make sure to choose the value which suits your project. So I think 1.3 works for me. I just wanted to hide the hands and not the body actually, so I can move my camera a little bit back. So 1.3 is a nice value for my project, and I will choose that. So once you do that, I will just get out of the play mode, make sure this is 1.3, and I think I have pushed my camera a little bit back like this, so till there it looks fine. Okay, so that much is okay for me. You can play with these values, and now what I will do, I will just make sure my camera is set to 0 again. And now what we will do, we will just click on the head bone and right click, create empty. This empty will be our gun camera. This gun camera will now be now have this camera component. Just search in camera and then you will get this. This gun camera will only check for the depth, so make sure to change this clear flags to depth only. And the culling mask, we only want to render guns in this scene, guns and the mesh part. So what we will do is we will create a mask for this culling mask, which is this layer mask over here. So just select your guns and click on this layers, add layer, and this third layer is empty, so we can add gun mask over there. Sorry, mask. Great. And now what we will do, we will just take our guns and give it the gun mask. Also now it is asking if you want to give this mask for children's, which are this 9mm aka lugger and m4. So this is the parent object and these are the children, so I will say yes. And now every one of those object have this gun mask. So after doing that, we want to only render the gun mask in this, so check nothing and then check for default and for the gun mask. So in this camera we are only going to render our gun and default skin. So one thing I forgot to mention, that a main camera set its depth to something lower. 0 is fine with me, and the gun camera should have a depth higher than the main camera, which is 1. So it is basically saying that whatever is being rendered in this camera should be on top, and this should be on the bottom. It's just like the layers. If you know, if you have used Photoshop or GIMP, then you will know about how layer works. So I think I have to position my gun camera in such a way that I don't see the mesh part, but I only see the gun and hands. So you have to play with those values just for once. So I'll just click on the play button and it is pretty much in the right position, but I can still see the helmet, so I don't want that. I will just move this a little bit further, and you just have to make sure that you see the guns. This camera is not going to rotate, so don't worry about anything else. Just position it and make sure that you don't see any mesh part of it. So a gaming rule says that you don't have to show, I mean, don't hide the whole screen with the gun. Just keep it simple and make as much as area visible as possible. So hope that makes sense. So I'll just copy the position of this camera and let us stop playing it. Now I will paste the values in the transform. So now I have pasted the values in the play mode in the gun camera into this transform. So now let us hit play and check how our camera works. So inside my main camera, as you can see, if I now rotate it down, I can still see some part of my hands, but I can also see my legs. So I can increase the culling So from 3 let us do it 0.4, 0.5, and it is gone. So now if I look down, I can see my legs. I will cull this to 60 degrees, so no problem. And I can look up. I don't see my helmet. Great. Now my hands are following it, but if you can still see some line over there, this line, I think this line is because of the camera, so you have to play with the values and make sure that nothing is in your scene. So I can just make it a little bit further. Okay. So all the changes, all you need to do is just copy the component values from over here, copy the position, or you can directly copy the component. I'll just copy the position and I will directly paste it again over here. I'll do this until you get a seamless camera. Also there are some other tricks such as making the fake legs. Those will get a little bit advanced, so I won't be talking about them. So now that you are happy with your camera placement inside the scene, now we can go ahead and specify the animator values. This animator, let me just drag it out. It had this AR animation, this ideal AR animation. I just removed that, and now we can just plug in our armature ideal animation. Then we can just plug our ideal pistol, and then after that we can plug our ideal AR. So let me just try to make this window a little bit more bigger, so we have more room. Now we need to switch to ideal animation whenever we don't have our pistol or our ARs. Okay, I guess this should be the way to do it. I will also move this aside because there is one more. There are some animations which are directly going to be triggered from this ideal animation, and those are running and walking. So to make them, we need to blend between walking in front and walking in back. So we will create a new blend tree. This blend tree will be just for walking. And now we will just Ctrl D to duplicate it, and we will duplicate this to make a running. So this walking will hold two positions, walking in front which will be 0 and walking in forward direction which will be 1, but I don't have those animations. I didn't make them just for the tutorial sake, but if you have them it is good. Now I will take walking front and just plug that in this motion field. I have to add this new motion field, and this motion field will be our walking in front. And now let us create another one, and this will have again walking front because I don't have walking back. You can specify the threads over here. I think if you disable this automatic threshold, then you can specify the threshold to -1 and 1. I think I will do that. I will set this to -1 and I will set this to 1 so that my value goes from -1 to 1, and the stable value in between, which is nothing, will set to 0. We will do the same in the running animation. We will just click on this blend tree and we will add in a new motion field which is for running. Let us add one again which is again for the running. Now disable this automatic threshold and make any value you want. Great, now we have to just get out, and then we need to make more blend trees for this ideal pistol and ideal AR. So I think I will put the ideal animations on the top like this. Now let us Ctrl T to duplicate them, and now they are going to be walking, but not only walking, this will be walking pistol, and this will be called as running pistol. So now walking pistol will have also two animations. So I think this is my walking pistol. I will just choose walking pistol for both. Now let us get out of the blend tree, and then we can just go inside running pistol and change this to running pistol. So there it is, my running pistol animation. Good. Now just we will now just select them both and Control T to duplicate them, and we will do the same for the AR. Let's get inside. Wait a minute, let me just select one and let us rename this first. You can just type in AR and then let us make this AR as well. So this walking AR will have obviously the walking AR animation, and the running AR will have running AR animation. So now I will select the running AR. Where is it? Running AR. Okay, there it is. So now that we have successfully made this tree, now we just have to add some logic, and from logic I mean the booleans which are going to manipulate them. So we need to create some booleans. The first boolean will be our is walking. The second boolean will be running. Third boolean, let's put this as has pistol. And the fourth boolean will be has AR. I think AR, this will look good. Okay, and now all we need to do is assign the booleans to them. So from ideal animation we will make transition to walking animation when by the way, you have to remove this has exit time, and if you don't know what this does, then eventually if you just make transition from this state to this state, then it will make this transition, and if you want to go back, then it will complete one full loop of this animation and then go back. So we don't want that. We want it to be instantaneous, like if we just stop pressing W or key, so it should just stop the walking animation and should not complete a loop. So that's what this has exit time does, and I will be going to disable this for each and every transition. So yeah, now this transition should only take place when our character is walking. This has nothing to do with the motion. Okay, motion is only just for the blending. Now the walking is true, then we want to transition, and then if I just make another transition which will be running. Okay, great. Now if the running is true, so if the running is false, then we just want to get away from this. Okay, so we want to make transition from running to walking, and if my walking is false, then I will just make a transition back to ideal animation. Let me just move this aside till over there. Let us move this till over there. Okay, great. So yes, it is walking. Now it is running. Now it is not running, and now it is not walking. So this animation. So now we have to make transition from this ideal animation to this pistol ideal animation when it has the pistol. So what we can just select this transition, and then we can just add in a walking if that is true, and also we have the pistol. So wait, sorry, this is the ideal animation, right? So we don't need walking in over here. We need just has pistol, and if it is true, then we will just change our ideal animation to this. And now from over there I think we can just make transition back again if it doesn't has pistol. By the way, if it doesn't has pistol, then it will directly make the it won't even make the transition. But suppose that if you lose your pistol in the game, and then you do have to make the transition back into the idle animation. So we have to put this which is has pistol. If that is false, then we will make the transition to idle animation again. And now from the idle we want to make walking. The way we will do is, if it has pistol is true and it also is walking, and now we will make transition from here to there when it has pistol and it is now running. So if it is not running, we will directly just make transition back, make the transition false if it is not running, and then let us make a transition back again if it is not working. Okay, great. And now the transition back if it doesn't has any pistol. So I will just save this. So now let us make transition from idle animation to idle AR, and now I will make that transition such that I have AR, and if I don't, I will transition back. Let's also remove has exit time, and then I will add in a condition which says that it doesn't has the AR. Now let us make transition from idle AR to walking, same as before. I will just add in a walking if it is true and if it has AR is true. Also now let us make transition to running if it is running and it has the AR. And now let us make transition back if it is not running. We just go back, set this to false, and then we will just make transition back if it doesn't have, sorry, if it is not walking, then we just make our transition back. So false will be on both the sides and true will be all on the left side. Okay, so hopefully you get it, and I didn't went way too fast for this. Now let us test it. We don't have to actually play with the motion because the animations are same for the both sides. I will just hide the gizmos, and now we will test our animations and if they work properly the way we want. You always have to play with these transitions if you are doing this for first time. Even if you are doing if you have done these animations a lot of time, you still sometimes make mistakes. So I will now hit play and let us check the animations. Let me change to animator window, and as you can see it is playing its idle animation. So now let us enable the walking, and it is walking, but there is definitely something wrong going on with this. Okay, so it is like transitioning to and fro, so there is some mistake. So if walking is true, then, and if, okay, so I forgot to make this false, that's why it was causing the problem. Okay, so now everything is okay. Let us hit play again and check how our animations are working right now. So animations are working fine. What if I make this 0? Nothing happens. Okay, so it is now stable on the walking. Disable walking. Let us enable running, but as you can see it won't go to running. It will stick to the idle animation. We have to enable the walking, and then we have to enable running. So walking and running has to be enabled simultaneously. And now what I will do is just check has AR, but as you can see it doesn't matter if I have the AR right now because it is now running from over here, and we have not we actually don't have any transition to make from this running to idle again. So we have to go step by step. Let me just hit pause, And now let us assume that you have started your game with a pistol. So I'll enable the pistol, and it is now inside this pistol animation, but it has the AR in his hand. So let us disable the AR and let us enable some pistol. Okay, so pistol is over there right now. We will now take our pistol and we will now start walking. So now it is walking and the animation is working really perfectly. And now what we will do is we will just enable running, and nothing happens because same we have to enable the walking first. And now let us disable everything, and now let us say that it has the AR. From transition to AR to pistol, it performs a really smooth animation, so you have to disable one before applying another. So has pistol and now has AR. So let me just disable this pistol and let me just enable the AR, and as you can see the transition is really nice. I can now also walk in AR and I can now run in AR as well. So let us hit stop. Now let's get to the fun part, which is making the visual script for our character controller. So what I will do, just click on this city and then let's add component. We will add in a script machine, and as this player is going to be getting deleted, we will also create a new folder, and this folder will be for our scripts. So we can name it as script machines. And now let us go again into the city and let's create a new graph. We will save that into our script machines. Let us name this as player controller. And now inside the player controller we need to control this player with the help of rigid bodies. So for that we need to add rigid body component to this. Let us add it. I actually like it on the top. So after adding the rigid body we also need to add in a collider. So we will add in a capsule collider. Generally capsule collider is used for the players and humanoid characters, so we will use that as well. I think it is best to add in a temporary ground plane, so I will just add in a, I think I will add in a cube and make it a ground. Let us right click over here and reset its transform. I will now grab or I think before grabbing I will just decrease its scale on the Y. I think 0.1 would be sufficient. Let us make 0.3 just for the safety, and we will just make it down a little bit over there, just barely touching his feet like this. And now let's increase its scale to something like 30 by 30, and I think you can also give this ground material just so that we can see how it moves. So I will just quickly create a ground material, and inside the albedo I will find the default checker gray. Let us increase the tiling of this to something like 50 by 50. So in this way we will now be able to track the position of our player. You know what, I will just increase it a bit more space for our player to move. Great. So after doing that, what we will do is, after adding everything, we need to adjust the capsule collider. So easiest way, and the way I like to do is to go into the orthographic view. Let's go into the side view and just click on this capsule collider editor. Now I will just drag this up till over there. Let's drag this till over there, and I think this is good enough, but you can also just decrease it like this and just increase it till just over there. Let's go into the front view. Also we can now edit it from the front view, but I think it is looking good as it is, so I will leave it over there. Now let's get back into the isometric view, and we can now just hit play and check how this rigid body is working. So let me just hit play. It is working because has pistol and walking animation is on, so I'll just disable it. And now let us grab our CD and let me just take it up. Okay, so it has a gravity and it is falling down. So now the thing which is remaining is to add control links. At the start we I think don't need anything. Also we will make another script for controlling these animations. Just for now we will start by creating a simple animation controller. So get axis, so input get axis, axis name, and in this axis name I will first type horizontal, and then we also want vertical. You can find them inside the edit project settings, and inside the input manager there is axis version. So here it is, the vertical and horizontal. So horizontal represents left right, which is A and D, and vertical represents the keys up and down, which is also S and W. So I'll just cut it. We will also be needing, by the way, mouse X and mouse Y. Now you can either set velocity, add force, but I think I will just use a simple translate. So translation XYZ and relative to, so I think I will choose this one because this gives me more control, and I want this to set to self. Self means the local axis and world means the global axis. Now to move forward and backwards, which is on the Z axis, so vertical component, plug that into the Z socket, and we will plug the horizontal component inside the X socket, and this will go from 0 to 1, which is actually really huge change, so we don't need that huge change. So what I will do, I will just add in a multiplier to both of them. Control D to duplicate that. Let's add in a multiplier, and we will multiply this with a smaller number. Let's multiply this with something like 0.1. And now what we will do is I will just hit play. So let us test it. If I press W, character is moving forward. If I press S, it is moving back. D, it goes right, and A, it goes left, but it just fell down. So to stop that, what we want to do is, let us go inside our rigid body component, and inside the constraints tab we need to disable the rotation on the Z, and we need to also disable the rotation on X. And now after doing that, we can just simply go and play again, and it won't be falling down now. So front, back, left, right, and everything is great. So now one more basic thing, which is jumping. So we need to add jumping mechanism too. By the way, I didn't make any jump animation, and I think inside the animator component you can literally jump in any state. So you have to like make a branch with each and every state of this for the jump. Okay, now let us add in a jump mechanism. So for the jump, I will just simply use the rigid body component add force, and then add force in XYZ. You can also select add force XYZ and mode. I think I will just choose add force XYZ. And now we want to add force only when we press spacebar, so we can again use this get axis. So I will just control D to duplicate it, and then we can just plug in jump in this, which corresponds to spacebar. Also this will go from 0 to 1 in increments, so we can just directly plug this over here, but as this force is really small, so we have to again multiply it with some greater number, and then this will be our jump force. Jump force will be somewhere around, I think we can multiply this with 10. We have to experiment it, so we will just hit play. Also, by the way, any changes you make right now will stay on, not like we usually do in inspector window, so it won't revert back, it will stay because this is the graph and it is not embedded. So I'll just hit spacebar now, and the jump is really small. We want it to be fast and instantaneous, so I'll just add in 20, and the jump is still not really good. Let's add in something like 30, and it is, let me just disable both of them. Now let us hit jump, and as you can see, the downward falling force is really low and it really looks so artificial. So what do we have to do is we have to go inside the files, and I think inside the build settings, in the player setting, we have to go inside the physics tab, and over here you can just type in some huge number such as minus 30. I guess 30 would be way too much, but let's experiment it. Minus 30, and then you can just quit this, and now the 30 and positive 30, this should be something like now 50. So now let us hit play and check. So I hit spacebar and it is actually looking pretty good. There are still some refinement we have to do to it. I will quickly disable them both. And now the refinement is something like ground check, and then we don't want it to double jump. Also we need to do it once every time we press the space bar, so we need to add that as well. Now what should we do? I think we should delete this rigid body add force and we should use something else. So add force, we will use this mode one. You can also use relative one, but I don't think that would be that great, and I think we don't even need that. So instead of this, we will use this modes, and there are 4 type of modes. You can experiment with them. Just for your information, impulse one, just put very low value in it, impulse and acceleration. I will plug this directly over there, and now let us add this in the Y socket. Now let's test it. I think this jump force will be way too much, but let's see. Okay, it's pretty good. I think we can still increase it to something like 80. Okay, now that's something like a jump. So I will stop playing it now, and as you can see, the values remains the same. I will now use if statement, and we will check for a condition, and that condition is get axis, input, and this input will be get key. Let's plug this over there, let's plug that over there, and this key will be for the spacebar, which is, I think, is over there. And if this condition is true, we will activate this, or else we won't. You can also use get key down over here, but instead of doing that, what I will do is I will just check for the ground, then it won't matter that much. Let me just for ground checking, I think we have to use a physics component. I think it is called as overlap box. So you can either use this box, or you can use a sphere. I think I will use the box one. No, let's use the sphere one, the position and the radius, and we will just add this in this boolean socket. So this will be also be checking a condition. Now the position of this box has to be somewhere around at the bottom over there where my city object is. So I think this is a pivot, the center is over there. So pivot position is checked by the game engine. So we can just do one thing, we can just say get position, and we can directly plug that over there just because our pivot location is over there. If your pivot position is not at the ground level, you can just add in an empty object, create an empty, and you can name this empty as your ground check. Now with the reference of this ground check, you can set the position to the ground check. Just plug the ground check over here in the transform socket by making it a scene variable or the object variable, preferably object variable. Make this ground check and then just get its position and plug this over here, so I don't have to do that. And now we need to give it some radius, so radius will be 1. Now we will just count the items, and items should be greater than I think 2, because first thing which it is colliding with is its own capsule collider. This box collider, this will collide with its own capsule collider, and then it will collide with the ground. So number of collisions should be 2. So we can add, I think, wait a minute, let me just take it, make it a full screen, and we can now add in a greater than input, and inside the greater than we will just put 1. So logically speaking, if my player jumps, then the count number will go to 1, and which is not greater than 1. We need at least 2 of it, so this should work. And I will just add a and boolean over here, so this both of these conditions should be true. And when both of these conditions are true, then and only then this rigid body will work, or else it won't. So now let us hit play and check if this works. So I cannot double jump, and nor do I can hold. Okay, I can hold it. If I keep it hold, then as soon as my spear touches the ground, it just jumps. So we need to stop that. Also, you can just change the force, and now you have to play with the force. I think I should also change this. So let us do get key down, so that it is only performed once. I will again choose the space bar. Let us give this the position. Let's plug that over there. Let's give it a flow and just delete this one. So once and only once it is happening. Now we have to just increase the force to something like, I don't know, 100. Okay, so 100 is not working. Let's go to 500. Okay, we also, I think it is good to just decrease this radius. I think it is way too much. 0.3 would be great, or 0.4. Now depending on your game, let me just zoom out and let's hide the gizmos. Depending on your game, you can plug any amount of height you want. So I'm pretty happy with this height. You just had to decrease this radius. I can again increase this value to something like 550. Okay, now it is working fine. No double jumps and no extra jump, no hover mode effect or something like that. I just made that up. Okay, great. So now our basic character controller is ready, but still we need to add in a camera rotation and player rotation. So I'll just get out of the play mode now and let's add in that. So for that we will go ahead and let's add in a player motion, but we cannot do that over here. We will use a different update event just below it, and now this will be just for the player rotation. Control D to duplicate it, and now we don't need vertical but we need mouse X position. So if this is your game screen, then the point from over here to here represents X. So this is my X movement of mouse, and this is my Y movement of mouse. We will take the X, so mouse X, and we will, after taking the mouse X, I don't know if there was a space bar in it, let me just check where it is. Okay, it is in the input manager, so it is mouse space X. I get confused sometime. Okay, so mouse X, and now after taking the mouse X we need to put this rotation inside the actually we need to rotate the whole player, so we will just do that. We will just rotate it, ROT. okay, so once you type that, you need this transform rotate axis angle relative to. Let's put this update event over there. Let's put this in the angle socket, and the axis on which we want to rotate is the y1. Let's make this relative, and now we also need to multiply this, so let us multiply this with some constant such as 5 would be great. Now I think I should just hit play and check how my player rotates. Okay, so as you can see, it is rotating with my mouse, and that's really great, and I can move in any direction I want. I can even strafe, I can move, I can press multiple keys, and it is going in the direction I want it. Okay, great. And now we need up and down motion. So for that I think I will now has AR and is walking. I will just turn them on. Now to rotate up and down, we also need to have to take the reference of the camera, and I think the camera was inside the head bone. Here it is. So we need to only rotate the main camera, and we need a reference of that. So we can, I think, just make a variable over here. So this is the object variable. I guess this is the object variable. I actually never used it. Let us just do it over here. So press this icon, and in the object variables you just need to create a main camera. Let us hit add and then game object, and let's add in a main camera. Now you can just drag and drop it. Now we will use its position. I think we need to just rotate it, so we can do the same. Control D to duplicate it. Let's plug this update event over here, and inside the game objects tab, which is this one, we can just plug its transform. And now the axis on which we want to rotate is not the Y but the X, so we will plug one over here. And the way you determine axis is, if I select the main camera, I want to look up and down with this, so up and down is like this. Okay, ignore this, whatever this is happening right now. We will fix that later. This window is not going down as well, so up and down. I think the gun camera is doing something. We have set it to gun and default, so let us remove the default one. Okay, now that I will rotate the main camera, everything is good. Great. Control S to save it. Now that we have main camera in the that socket, we need Control D to duplicate it, and also we will use this one. Let's plug that over there. Instead of mouse X, this time now we will use mouse Y, and let us just plug that into the axis of the angle. And don't forget, we also need to clip it. So sorry, from clip I mean we have to clamp the value between the two numbers, but I will just show you that it is working right now. I forgot to turn on the gizmos, but no problem, I will just turn it on now if it lets me. Okay, great. So now as you can see, I can look up and down, but the thing is that it feels inverted. So I can go up and down. Okay, oops, let me go back. So as this feel inverted, you just multiply this value with -5, and now the inversion is gone. So up and down, left, right, I can do every motion. Let me just go into the animator and has AR, and now let us go inside the game view. So as you can see, my gun is in the screen. I can see my hands, so I have to play with the values a little bit. So let us get out of the play mode. So let us create another mask for our player. So click on COP. Let me just add in another layer, which is player. So this mask will be for our cop player, and now inside the gun camera we will choose not the default but the player. So now only the mask which has, the layer which has gun mask and player mask will only be rendered in the gun camera and nothing else. So if I hit play now, it should work properly. So I can see my player. I will just increase the clipping. Let me just press escape, get out of there. Let us hit pause, and now with our main camera selected, I will just increase this to 1.54. Sounds good. Unpause it, and as you can see, my camera is performing a 360, but I will just curl my camera till over there, and we can also see the shadows. And we cannot see the shadow of the gun because it is not being rendered in this view, so we will just fix that later. Now let us focus on clipping this camera on the 60 and -90, and then we will just stop this video because it's already way too long. So to make this camera clip, we need to use clamp function. So clamp, we will clamp it between two float values. Those float values will be taken from this. We need to make a new variable which is camera clamp. Okay, this will be a float value, and then we need to set this value. So let us remove that from the angle. We will plug camera clamp inside the angle. Let us take everything and let us move this front. Let me just increase my view. Let's disable that. So now we need to set the value of the camera, and that value is this one. But instead of going directly over there, we will now just clamp it. So this is how the setup should look. The value we want goes into the value, and the minimum value which we want is -90, and the maximum value which we want is 60°, and that goes over into this variable. And once it is set, we can now plug that value over here in the rotation tab. There is one thing that instead, after multiply, we need to add something to the same value. So Control D to duplicate it. We will use the add. Okay, so we will add this value, and after adding it, we will set it over here, and that value should not go beyond this limits. So we just clamped it, and now it should work. Okay, so that is bad. Hey everyone, sorry for the weird cut, but there is one change, which is we actually don't have to use this node over here, which is setting the angle, and it will set this angle continuously, and we don't want that. So my camera will just rotate really badly. So for this Y camera culling, or you can say clamping, just delete this node. We don't want to use this one, but just go to the set rotation and choose this transform set rotation. We want to use this one. Let me just plug this into the hierarchy like this, and obviously we need to rotate the main camera, so just plug its transform into this component. Now this is a Crotonian, and we want to change this to Euler, so just press EU and then choose this one. After doing that, we need to plug this value inside the X, but it is now setting the Y and Z to 0, and we don't want that. So we need to again get the rotation from the main camera. So this is the main camera game object. Let us take this and just get rotation. And now after getting its rotation, we need to get its X value. So I will just plug here and then pressing Euler. So in this way we will get the Euler angles, and then we need to get the X value of it. And no, sorry, wait, we don't want the X value, we want the Y value of it, and the Z. And now we will just plug this Y value in the Y socket and Z value in the Z socket. So whatever the default position, or you can say the rotation was, will just be set to the default value. Just plug this till over there, just making it a little bit tidy so that it will be easy to read. Okay, great. We also need a flow in this. So from the update event, let me just make a flow connection to this, and now everything is flowing nicely. So again, the same thing which I just said earlier for this, and over here we are rotating the camera. Set rotation, get rotation from the main camera, and now this will work really well. Let me now just hit play and we will see. So my camera goes down and it locks over here, it doesn't move down from this, so it is pretty well. And now for the up, it is not going beyond -89. As you can see over here, it is on the top. I'm using the sun as the reference, so it is not going beyond that and not below that. So our camera is almost completed. I forgot to plug the original value for the camera culling width. I will just make sure that it is somewhere over there. Okay, let us take this camera and increase its, I think it was 1.45. okay, I'll stop playing and just plug the original value 1.45 over here, and I think our character is done. We only need to make the animations to be played. So yeah, let's do the animations now. We will make the animator script. Before adding animation script, let's first add a sprint mechanism in our game, because I forgot it. So in the player controller script, all we need to do is we need to divide the original speed by twice. So we will do that with the help of get key, this first node, and then all you need to do is press L until you find left shift. There it is. And now we need a select node. After select node, plug this boolean input into this over there, and then we also need an update method in this. So I think we don't need an update method, sorry for that. We will now select the value. So when we press the shift, we want it to be multiplied with 0.5, which is half in fraction, and if it is not pressed, then we will just keep it at 1. So we need a multiplier, so I'll just copy this one like that over there. So we will multiply our original speed with this shift value, which is sprint value, like that over there, and we will do the same. Control D to duplicate that. Just plug this over there and there. So we did both, the sprint mechanism for both the axes, and we are done with this. And now we can make our animation controller. So I will just go into our city, and then we will create our new script machine, and then over here let's create a new graph. I will name this graph as animation controller. Okay, great. We don't need the, we do need the start and update event. I think I'll just keep it over there. So in the start, we I think we should talk about start later, but first let us go into our update event. And now we want to check our is running whenever we are running and is walking whenever we are walking. So to do that, let me just first take the left shift button, because that is for sprinting. Get key, and then we will search for again the left shift. Sorry for this. L. Okay, so there it is, our left shift. And now let's add in a this boolean operator. So to add them, all you need to do is type anim, which stands for animation, and then we will search for bool, because this is a boolean. So we need a set boolean name and value. So we will just plug this update event over here. Let's plug this boolean input over here, and the thing which we want to change is running. Okay, so whenever we press the shift, this running will be set to true, and whenever our motion value is non-zero, then we are walking, or else we are not. So we will set that also now. So to take the motion value, you can also directly do this. Instead of making a new variable for checking out the motion, you can just type in get axis, and we can get the axis name, which is horizontal, and we also need a vertical one. And now we have our vertical and horizontal components. So whenever these are non-zero, we want our walking to be set to true, or else we want it to be false. So we will just Control D to duplicate that, and then we will now turn this into walking. Plug that over there. So vertical when it is not equals to 0. We will do the same for our horizontal when our horizontal is not equals to 0, and we will set them in the OR function, because if any one of this non-zero, then we want that to activate. So OR function like this, and just directly plug that over there. So if any one of this is true, this way walking will turn to true, or else it will be false. And now we are basically done. So all we need to do next is to set the motion value, but first let us preview what we have done so far. I'll just make the windows bigger and let's hit play. Let me hide the gizmos. So as you can see, by the way, I have pistol in my hand, sorry for that, but it is playing the AR animation because it has AR enabled. If I disable that and just enable has pistol, now it is perfect. Now I will walk. As you can see, it is walking, it's stopping, left, right, and then walk and run. So as you can see, when I'm running, my speed is actually getting low. It is because I did a mistake. Let me just fix that. Let's go to the animator player controller, and we don't want our speed to be half when we press shift. So let's make this as 1 and this as 0.5. Yeah, now it makes sense. Let's just graph. Okay, let me just now save it and let's play it again. Great. So now it is walking and now it is sprinting. Now it doesn't feel that weird. Walking, running, walking, running, side by side. It works on side as well. Now I don't have different animations, by the way. That's why it is looking weird, but with the help of this motion, you can set different animations, and I hope you all have got a clear idea on how to do that. Let me just unplay it, and now let's do work on the motion. The motion part was a bit tricky because this value goes from -1 to +1, and when we press two keys simultaneously such as W and A, if this is -1 and this is +1, so adding them and multiplying them wouldn't make sense. So what instead I did is add in a to if node. So we will do exactly that. If node, Control D to duplicate that. We will plug them from over here. So if them both are not 0, and if this one is false, and now we will take the update event from over there. Now let us add in this motion boolean. So just type in ANIM and then just type in bool. So we need to select this name and value, plug this true over there. No, we need to combine this both inputs, and then we will do that. Wait a minute, sorry, not a boolean, but we need actually a name float, name and value. The name is motion and the value will be chosen from this two, and the way we are going to select them is from select on flow. Plug this true value on the top socket, and we need this vertical to go on top and this horizontal to go on bottom. And now we will just plug this event over there and this value in the value socket, and we are done. So now let's test it out. I will just hit play. So now as you can see, it is playing. I forgot to select my city. Okay, now if I press W, it's going front 1, backwards negative, and then A -1, +1. So W and A 1, and this W and D should be 1 as well. S and A should be -1 and S and D should be -1. So it is working nicely, so I'll just stop now. In the next video we will make the UI in which we will select our guns with these booleans, has pistol and has AR. You just have to plug them in the start, and you need to update them in the start of the game. So just like this, just Control D to duplicate that and plug them over there. So this value of has pistol should be updated at the start of the game, and this will be our has AR. And now in the start of the game you can take the input from the gun bone, and then you can just select from where that gun is, and we will do that in the next video. So subscribe, like and share this video if you liked it, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know when my next video is out. So this is the gun bone, as you can see, and we are going to control this. We will not disable this one, but instead we will add a script in which we will just use this a game object to control and disable and enable its own children. So if the 9mm is active, then we will take its active status and plug this into our has pistol, because these Langar and 9mm both are pistols. So there, if any one of them is active, then has pistol will be activated, and if any one of the AR is active, then has AR will be activated, and we will do that in the next video. So thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next video. Bye bye.